So Money in the Bank is just around the corner, but the question on everyone's mind is, what are our favorite Money in the Bank cash-ins?
Baron Corbin's.
Oh, well, I mean, obviously, yeah.
Obviously.
I know you're joking there, but it was Jinder's only clean win as WWE champion. So
was it? Oh my God, like it was a roll up in like 6 seconds, wasn't it?
yeah, and you could argue that it was a distraction by John Cena, but there was no interference from the Singh brothers. So
hey, it's nice to see. Yeah, it's a new match structure.
He won on his own.
Well done, Jinder. No, mine is the one that immediately pings out is Dolph Ziggler, who is not kind of like he's fallen off a little bit of recent years. But in 2013, I was like, he was genuinely one of my favorite wrestlers because he still he had that whole I never got my spotlight, which is a story that he's played out over the last few years. Like it seems like every year or 2 years we get a Dolph Ziggler saying, I never got my moment. But in 2013, that really resonated. It was like a Daniel Bryan sort of thing. Like he was the kind of the pre-Daniel Bryan in terms of like fans being like, no, Dolph should get his. Dolph's really great. And then on the Monday after the Raw after Mania, when the crowd was at its absolute hottest, he came out and wrestled a really, really tense match with Alberto Del Rio because Dolph was always he's always been a bit of a loser. He's just done that feud with John Cena. So we weren't sure, is this going to be the first proper failure? But then he kind of twisted that ankle and then, zigzag the pin. And I was so happy. I was just jumping up and down in my kitchen because I was so pleased for Dolph.
That crowd roar when his music hits to start off with, and then you can feel the tension in the audience, watching it back with knowing what's going to happen and just listening to the way that the audience are reacting. It's incredible to hear because it is people are just so excited he's going to win. But the way that Del Rio and Dolph then structure the match, the short match that it was, to be oh, but is it going to work though? Is he going to win? Because there are suddenly the crowd just go, oh, maybe Dolph isn't going to win. And that just makes the win even more, it feels more big then.
I'd say, they did Damien Sandow dirty, and that could be said of his entire run. But the fact that he cashed in, and the fact that you can have Baron Corbin and Damien Sandow cash in and legit lose, it's really good for future cashes because you don't know, because it shouldn't be a certainty. For the first probably 5 years of its existence, everyone was just well, obviously, whoever gets the briefcase is going to be world champion at some point. And that was exciting in its own way because it's oh, at some point they're going to make the Miz WWE champion. What? How is that going to work? So it's kind of, yes, turns out, but because it always gives you kind of an insight into backstage. It's oh my God, they've got plans for this guy. Daniel Bryan's going to be a world champion. That's amazing. Which is great. It's a great indicator of where people are backstage. I think in terms of other ones that really kind of made me happy, the weirdly Kane, just because I was just I'd never thought of the idea of it happening on the same night. That was the first one where someone won it earlier in the night and cashed it in on the same pay-per-view, and it blew me away. I was just oh my God, I of course that booking makes total sense, but it's Kane, why would he wait? But yeah, no, I was just it was sad to see it happen to Rey Mysterio, but it was a really good character moment because Kane is always brilliant, and I was really glad that he was world champion.
I'm a big fan of RVD's cash in. The announcement that we're going to do this, we're going to do it on my home turf, a one night stand 2006, and then the match with John Cena. That crowd reaction to that match is just you can feel that emotion there. This "if Cena wins, we riot" sign, and I think you can say what you can, Edge effectively won the match for him. But I don't really care. I loved the fact that RVD cashed in. I love the fact that he finally became WWE champion. And I thought that was absolutely awesome. Similarly, the first cash in for Edge, when
classic,
he won the Money in the Bank at WrestleMania 21, and he held on to that until almost WrestleMania 22. It was January, the following January, he cashed it in. And because he was the first one, I don't think people really what we had no expectations of, like when a cash in was going to happen. So for him to hold on to that thing for 7 months felt like even longer than that. In fact, it felt insane that he was still holding on to this and we're just waiting and waiting and waiting for it. And then when he finally cashed it in New Year's Revolution, it's an incredible moment. And he was done dirty by losing it 2 weeks later. But that cash in, singularly, that cash in really, really worked.
Yeah, he's always got that moment, the ultimate opportunist born out of that moment. Like that is, yeah, it's something of a legacy. In terms of favorite ones, like I know that kind of Money in the Bank is sort of, I think people look at it in two ways. Some people see it as a bit played out, like it's the same kind of gimmick over and over again. Like a heel's gonna hold it for a while, and then he cashes in just to kind of create a new feud. And people get a little bit sick of the teasing, but I think it occasionally gives rise to some eureka booking, and that the pinnacle of like of that surprise coming in and changing everything that you thought was going to be WrestleMania 31. Seth Rollins, the main event that no one wanted, turned out to be great. One of the best WrestleMania main events of the last decade, probably. And part of that is due to, the heist of the century. Seth Rollins coming out and changing the entire narrative, flipping it, and then having that run all the way through to Survivor Series. Because, the briefcase itself is an amazing heel prop, and especially gold for Seth, like the golden boy, like it was really perfect for him. And in fact, he kept using it with the stomp. Like the briefcase can be the perfect thing for the right heel. And it was, from the moment he won it to the moment he cashed it in, I think probably in terms of like general, like who is the best Money in the Bank, Seth, I think, for the entirety of their run, for what the briefcase did to them, for how they cashed it in, generally the best, for me, the best Mr. Money in the Bank of all time is Seth Rollins.
And it's to show how good that was, or a testament to how good that was. He lost earlier in the night. He lost to Randy Orton earlier in the night, but no one really, everyone remembers the RKO, but no one really mentions, the fact that, Seth lost and then he won the title. In fact, like WWE's whole narrative coming out of WrestleMania was that Owens beating him was the first time Rollins was beaten at WrestleMania, because their narrative is that, well, he won at Mania 31 overall, so he's undefeated at WrestleMania. What he was.
That's silly, but I think that's for me. Who about you? Favorite Mr. Money in the Bank, not just cash in, but favorite general package?
I think outside of Seth, it's Edge. Because I think that, like, in those early years, Edge really sort of personified that thing. He won it the first one, and then he won it off of Mr. Kennedy as well, and then used that to get the belt back. I just felt that him creating that ultimate opportunist persona out of the Money in the Bank, like that, it completely main evented him. Like that made him a long-term main eventer. And I'm not sure he would have had that without the Money in the Bank.